Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Peace, Love, Faith, and Divine Union. I am Kanisha, and this is a channel where we talk about twin flames, self concept, subconscious, and limiting beliefs. And today we are going to speak on 5 signs that the Divine Masculine feels the twin flame love and connection that you share, even if they do not show it or speak it. And I've tried to record this video like 11 times. And so it really does feel like the masculine energy when they're trying to get something out and they're trying to say something, but they just can't. And it's also the same vibe of like starting a text message and trying to get out the words, but just nothing sounds right. So they delete it. So that is the energy and the vibe that is happening here. But I do want to speak on 5 signs of how they are feeling, what they're going through when they start to recognize this dynamic and connection with their divine feminine. So, one of the things that I hear a lot regarding the divine masculine is that they are very cold and that they don't care. And for those of you who don't know me, I am in union with my twin flame. I do live in the same home as my twin flame, and these are all things that I've actually experienced with my man as well. And I do recall one time telling him that because he was kind of acting detached and almost like he didn't care, I remember saying to him, like, I feel like you don't care. And it was so insulting to him because he had actually done a lot of things through action, but he may not have shared things so much through his words. And he was just like, you really think that I don't care about you after all of these things that I've done to show you that I care? And I realized that the divine masculine just communicates differently than the divine feminine. So most people think that the masculine is cold and that they don't care and that they're detached. But the truth is that they feel the twin flame connection dynamic as much as you do, and sometimes even more deeply than you may have. And this is just their own sacred way of understanding their dynamic and union with you. So today I'm going to go into those 5 clear signs to reveal to you how they really feel about your twin flame dynamic, the love that you two share, even if they don't show it. I want to touch on what they do and feel when you're being silent. Maybe you guys aren't in communication and you haven't talked in quite some time. I'm also going to talk about why they pull away when the connection gets very intense. This is where you'll find what we call the runner dynamic. And then we're also going to talk about the awakening of the truth of who you are to them. They're going to become very aware at some point in the dynamic of like, oh, this is what the divine feminine has been showing and sharing and teaching me this whole time. They also move through feeling your pain because you're one consciousness, you're one soul. So even if they're not communicating or talking to you, they do feel your feelings, your emotions. They do receive your thoughts, your telepathic communication. And then last but not least, it's like the last thing I want to talk on is really like the way that they love you so deeply, even though it's not shared out loud or spoken, these are ways that they might show you how they love you. So, the first thing I do want to touch on is them sensing you in the silence. Even I do find that a lot of divine feminines will pull back their energy, and I encourage that, but I encourage that you do it from a place of peace. And what that looks like is that you're not going to pull back your energy because you're angry at them or you're upset with them or let me show you and I'm going to give you the silent treatment so that you miss me and that you're going to come running back to me and because the missing me is just so heartbreaking and it's killing you kind of vibe. That doesn't work with a twin flame dynamic. It might work with a soulmate dynamic, but it definitely will not work with a twin flame because they are you. And so if you're giving your twin flame, your divine masculine, the silent treatment, and your masculine is your perfect mirror, which is what your twin flame is, they are your perfect divine mirror, then they're going to mirror back to you, giving you the silent treatment. So it doesn't work that way. And this is why you'll find that one of the keys to harmonious union is forgiveness. And that's a whole different topic and conversation. But if you're pulling back your energy to go within and to focus on yourself and to love yourself where you feel hurt by your divine masculine, and then you're able to come to a place of peace, and you're still moving through like silence because you feel that it's just a healthy boundary, that you just focus on yourself and that you surrender them to God, and that you're trusting the process, and you're choosing to maybe reach out when you feel really loved and filled up, and you're not seeking anything from them, validation, reassurance, love, attention, and you can do that from a healthy space, then perfect. But during the silence, they do sense you. And this means that they will receive dreams and visions of you. They might dream of you or feel your presence when they least expect it. They might have your energy reoccur. And my masculine has shared that like there was times where he had dreams that it wasn't physically me in his dream, but he was like, it was your energy. Like I was aware like that's Kanisha, even though like the person in the dream wasn't me. And so they sense your energy at all times. And that is what we call energy recognition. Even if they don't say it, they sense it spiritually. And a lot of the times it's when they are kind of in their thoughts, or maybe they're home and they're just chilling and they're trying to maybe distract themselves with their phone or with video games or work or whatever, and it's just like they get this overwhelming sense that their divine feminine is like thinking about them, or that she's moving through something. Like they can feel you at all times, even if you're not communicating, just like you feel them. So know that it's, you are one. There's no awakened twin flame, or there's no awakened person to the dynamic where it's just one of you. Like if they're truly your twin flame, then you're both equally awakened to the dynamic. Now, with soul connections, it's beyond words. And silence in a connection doesn't mean that you've been abandoned or that there's absence. It often means that they're feeling you on a higher plane. And what that means is I hear a lot of people talk about like 5D and 4D, which is a higher plane than the 3D. And your twin flames higher self and your higher self are already in union. You're just grounding it into the 3D. They've always been in union, and that's because you were created in union with your twin flame from the very beginning. From the moment you were created in union with your twin flame. So on the higher realm, your twin flame and your twin flame's higher self, or your twin flame's higher self and your higher self, are already in union. So your soul, your higher self, is leading you into union into the 3D. And you ultimately ground that in by coming into inner union with yourself. And your outer reality is going to reflect that inner reality, because everything that happens in your outer reality is a reflection of your inner reality. So if you believe and feel and know inwardly that you're already in union with your twin flame, you're going to experience that in your outer reality. And what usually delays it is that I see people be like, okay, I know I'm in a union and I know that my twin flame is my twin flame, and we have amazing conversations all the time, and I'm in the most beautiful relationship with my twin flame, and we live together and life is so good. And then they're like, okay, nothing's happened. And so there's not actually belief or faith behind the fact that you truly believe that in your inner reality. When you can truly believe that and you can only focus on that, no matter what your 3D is showing you, it will manifest into your 3D reality. So know that your soul connection is much deeper than words. It's much deeper than just it being a physical connection. Your twin flame is your ultimate teacher, is your ultimate lover. However, they're going to be your ultimate teacher first. So it's more than just a romantic connection. It is truly a divine spiritual connection to help you come back to your true divine self and to help you come back to your creator, which is God. And so as you do that, you're going to find that during the silence, you're being encouraged to go within and to do your inner work and to love yourself in those spaces where you're feeling um, just deep hurt from your twin flame during that silence. And believe me, they don't want to be in silence. They don't want to not be communicating with you, but sometimes it's the most appropriate for your union to heal. So the second thing that I want to speak on is when your divine masculine pulls away, and it tends to happen when things get very intense. This is something I noticed with my masculine. We would have amazing weekends of just spending time together. We would tend to go on trips together with other friends, and him and I would always ride together because our schedules tend to sync up. And I nannied for teachers for a very long time, and he is a teacher, and so a lot of our friends would like go on trips, and they would leave on a Thursday, and both of us were like, we can't leave till Friday. So like we would ride together to wherever we were going, and a lot of the times it was like 3-4 hour trips, so we would spend quite a bit of time together, and we would have wonderful weekends. And then as soon as we would get back home, it would be like I didn't hear from him for like a week or two, because we just had this amazing time where we went deeper together. And then because we went deeper, now all of this stuff is coming to the surface that isn't in alignment with that love that we just had. So you'll recognize that you have like sudden distance with your masculine. They go quiet, they withdraw after going deeper into closeness with you. It is not personal, it's just a lot for them to process, and a lot is coming up for them. And the way that they handle it is by reclusing and going into their like little divine masculine man cave. Okay, so be compassionate as they move through that. My masculine doesn't do that nearly as much now, because he's learned that he can process, and I can still be in his space, and I'm recognizing that he's processing. So a lot of the times I kind of just let him do his thing while I'm over here like doing a puzzle, or I go and do some content or whatever. And then when he's done processing, he finds his way and we go do something together. So you will find that distancing will start to shorten as you come deeper into harmonious union with your twin flame. As he's processing the emotions, like I had to recognize that it's because it's the way he processes. It might be different than how I process. So know that the divine masculine, they process differently, and pulling away is them like handling overwhelming emotions and feelings, because a lot of the times the divine masculine doesn't know how to express their feelings, and that's okay. We have compassion for them and we hold space for them, and by being able to express our feelings in a peaceful way, we teach them how to express their feelings too. So know that it's not rejection. It's not that they don't care or that they're cold or that they're detached from you. It's just that the intensity of your union and the way that you trigger them, which is not intentional, it's just your presence triggers them because they're your direct reflection of them, makes them reflect and have to go within, and it requires them to regroup and be able to get into a more like balanced and grounded space to be in your space. And my masculine has really shared that, like, when we would have really deep conversations and we would have those long trips together, he would go home and he'd be like, why is it that I only speak to her about these things? Like, why is it that she makes me feel this way? And it would require him to really have to sit with some things that maybe he wasn't willing to explore or wanting to explore. But in that silence, God was working on his heart and his mind. And so don't take it personally, even though it feels personal. I encourage you to really focus on you and go within and do things that you love to do while they're moving through their process. Now, the third thing I want to speak on is awakening of the truth of who you are. Now, this is undeniable, okay? Like, the more you do your inner work, divine feminines, the more that the divine masculine can't deny it. It's not that they're not aware of it or that they're not awake to it, because if you're awake to the union, so are they. But they may be in a strong space of denial or not wanting to look at it because it brings up so much feelings. Like the divine masculine, I don't know what it is, but for the most part, a lot of them are just like, I don't want to feel the feelings. Like, leave me alone when it comes to feelings. And they look at the divine feminine as this like really feely in her emotion, in all of their emotion, like they almost see it as drama and overwhelming sometimes, but like as they heal this wounded masculine and step into their healed masculinity, they recognize that it's just part of the divine feminine's way of expression. So the masculine will come to a realization that they notice no one else makes them feel the way that you do. And it can feel scary. Like, is this really the person that God has for me? Is this really my divine lover? Like, why do they pull these things out of me? Like, it's almost like my Eliud had said one time, like, I just start speaking things, like things just come out of my mouth, and I'm just like, I can't believe I told her that. Like, and it's just because you are a safe space for them. When you're safe within you, you create that safety for them. So they will start to feel just this pull and this call to share things with you, and to recognize that you make them feel a way that no one else has. You are more familiar to them than anyone else in their family, anyone else in their life. And that might feel very scary for the divine masculine to have found their divine feminine. And then, because of the way the world is and the way that things, a lot of fear and lower vibrations come in, it's like, well, if I get too close, I might lose her. If I get too close, she might hurt me, or I might hurt them, or whatever it is. Like, there's just a lot happening within the masculine's mind that they have to unravel in order to be able to fully relax into the union. And we move through that too. It just looks a little different on the outside. Now, they also recognize that you are their mirror, divine feminine, and they begin to see you as their divine counterpart, even if they don't know how to explain it. Even if they don't know, like, it's a twin flame, they just recognize that, like, you are bringing up a lot for them to reflect on. You're bringing up a lot for them to look at. How do I actually feel about the divine feminine? How have I treated women in the past? How do I feel about love and relationships? This is something my masculine has talked about. He was like, gosh, like, you were the first person where I was just like, you can't treat her like that. You can't talk to her that way. That's not okay. And he was like, I've never, like, really sat with that too long of, like, how am I treating this particular woman? She's been so just loving, and her energy is so kind, and yet I'm, like, ignoring her, and I'm not texting her back, and I'm, like, feeling like I need to create space from her. Like, why is that? Why am I doing that when all she wants to do is love me? And so that required him to go within and look at his wounds and all of his beliefs. And so they start to see that you're mirroring back to them these wounded spaces that need love. And a lot of the times they create space because they don't want to hurt you, and they don't want to add on to, a lot of them I hear say, like, they don't want to, I don't want to lead them on. And so they create space until they can figure themselves out. But again, as you heal, so do they. So if they do that, just heal how you feel about it, and love yourself in that space, and know that they are going to come to peace in that space as well too. Now, awakening changes everything. Once they see the truth, they can't unsee it, they can't unknow it, and then they really can't stay away. So they may stay away if they're super triggered and maybe you guys have had a fight, but if you heal it using the mirror exercise, then they gravitate right back to you. And I 100% have experienced this in my union, where we've had some really ugly fights because you have some deep core wounds come to the surface. But once I heal it, it's like I get a phone call, or it's like he comes, but back when we were just not living in the same house, but now he just comes into the room and just like, you want to watch TikToks with me? Do you want to watch a movie with me? Do you want to go get dinner? Like, let's cuddle. Like, it's like the fight doesn't last long, but they can't stay away because they're attracted to you. So be doing the inner work and really recognize that they have no desire to be in separation from you or stay away from you, but they are mirroring aspects of you that may be abandoning yourself, or avoiding yourself, or ignoring yourself out of trying to get something from the outside. Now, they do feel your pain, and this is the fourth thing I want to fourth thing I want to talk on, and that is that they do feel all of your emotions, and they're very emotionally sensitive to your sadness, even if you don't tell them. I don't have to speak. I don't have to say anything. Not a thing. And my masculine's like, "What's wrong?" I'm like, "What?" And he's like, "I can feel it. What's going on with you?" And I was just like, "I didn't say anything." And he's like, "You don't have to say anything. Like, I can feel it, Kanisha. What is going on?" So they're very emotionally, like, aware of you, divine feminine, and you can't hide from them. And that is also vice versa. They can't hide from you. You can feel when something's wrong, even if they're not saying it. So really, it's just, if it's mind games if you don't just clear it out and just put it on the table. And that's why also one of the um, key to harmonious union, you'll find that in this book here, Twin Flames Find Your Ultimate Lover. The one of the keys to harmonious union is honesty. So you got to be completely honest with how you're feeling so that you guys can work through these things. And a lot of the times, one of you has a piece of the core block that your union needs to work on in order to go deeper in unconditional love there. So don't hide, don't try to avoid, just be honest. And you will find that they will do random check-ins. Like it's so random. You're just like, how do you know? Once, because they're one with you. They can feel all of what you're feeling. All of your choices, all of your feelings affect your twin flame, whether or not they share it or say something. It does. So they will check in on you, and you will also recognize that they share the same healing. Like your emotion shifts and it impacts them because your bond is so deep. And so anytime I've ever healed something, even if it wasn't spoken to him, he would then like share with me something that he was moving through and what he came to the like revelation about or his healing about it. And I'm like, wow, actually that's what I healed too. And actually that's how he was revealing himself to me as my twin flame at the very beginning, was that I was healing already, doing the inner work. I was doing the mirror exercise, and then we would go out to dinner with friends, and he would be sharing things of his day or of his week, and like realizations and revelations and healing he was doing. And I was just like, oh my gosh, like that's exactly what I mirrored. That's what I healed this week. And I found that to be so incredible because no one in my friends group was mirroring those kinds of things to me or even doing the inner work. So I found it very attractive. And I was also like, wow, that's crazy. Like maybe we're soul family. No, it turned out we were twin flames, because I was in quite a bit of denial that we were twin flames at the very beginning. But that's a whole different story. So they do share the healing. They will reflect back your healing towards you. Now, the last thing is their love for you. Like it's not loud, like how you might see it on movies and romantic rom-coms, but it is very soul deep. And that is that they have this natural, it's almost like this quiet devotion for you. And it may not be used in words, but it absolutely is in their actions. And they're going to show up that way. Every masculine coach that I've worked with within Twin Flames universe, every single one of them have reminded me, I think there's been 3 of them, they have all reminded me, pay attention to your masculine's actions, not so much his words. Like his words are important, but like pay attention to his actions. And that's because the divine masculine communicates through their actions. They move in action. They are very action oriented, and this is why they're like the providers, they're the leaders, they are the ones who protect. Like they're very kind of like, a lot of what they do is on like more in like reality, when the feminine does a lot of like the inner work and the spiritual work. And so I have found that this example that has been given to me is very true. The masculine is like the outer part of this candy, it's the hard shell of the candy, and the divine feminine is the ooey gooey yumminess on the inside. And so on the outside, they take action, they do all the things that they need to do. And sometimes it's hard for them to get inside and do the ooey gooey and like share their emotions, okay? So just be really compassionate with them. And they also desire just a very steady connection with you. So no matter the distance, their love is very present. And I experienced this a lot with my masculine. Even though there was distance when we would spend time together, it got to a point where our friends are like, are you guys dating? And I'd be like, no. And they're like, well, it seems like it. And it was because his love was just growing and it was present. It wasn't like he would pull his love away from me. It was just like we would go deeper. We're always going deeper. You and your twin flame are always going to be going deeper. And it really did reveal that it's such a sacred depth to our connection, that it wasn't about big love gestures. It was about knowing that you're one with them, and that as you heal, so do they, and they're always going to meet you in peace, and they're always going to meet you in love. And this was something that was very comforting, is that even when we go time without communicating, when we come back together, it was like no time had passed. And it really felt very like he was my ultimate best friend. Like it didn't matter how long we would go without seeing each other, it we would just pick right back up. So, if you're doubting whether or not they feel this love, these are some signs that the divine masculine is very aware of this connection and is experiencing this connection in their own way. And their silence and distance is part of their awakening. Even if they're quiet, like all the love that they have for you is just for you, divine feminine. And they do desire to pour into you and be in union with you. They are just revealing to you and mirroring back to you where maybe you're being silenced and distancing yourself from your divine self, where you're not showing up and acknowledging all of yourself, where you're not going all in commitment with yourself. And if you need support on that, I'm here to help you. I do help you move through all those blocks on one sessions or in group coaching, and I do have that available for you. And so I hope that if this message spoke to you, please like and share, subscribe, and definitely leave a comment below of maybe what you're working through or which sign you resonate the most with regarding your divine masculine. I love hearing your guys' stories. I love really getting to know you guys and sharing my journey with you, because it is very personal, but it is something that you get to have too. Like twin flame union isn't just for the far and few in between, it's for everyone, but you have to choose to go all in and commit for your union. So remember, separation is an illusion. Love is always present, only love is real. And union begins within, and your harmonious union is already yours. So I love you guys. Peace, love, and faith, and I will see you soon.